G'day guys, today's video is part 2 of the HPI RS4 project speed series. So if you're new to this channel or you've just stumbled across this video, I am doing a speed run project, and the car that I chose is an HPI RS4 Sport 3. So the first video was the initial, I guess you could call it the build up of the video, because unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize that with the creator edition of this particular chassis, it's, I guess you could say 95% assembled, and there's just some minor assembly. So I went about redoing some of the driveline, like the diffs, and I redid the shock oil and put the electronics and things like that on it, just to initially get it built up. So in this video, what I'm going to do is, it's not going to be a real hardcore speed run. I don't really expect much right now, mainly for the fact that this is a new build and I just want to do a test run, make sure it's going good. And it has had, in between this video and the first video, there's been a few changes. So what I'll do is we'll go over to the workbench and I'll show you what I have done. Alright guys, so here's the car. So what I have done is a couple of changes. So under the shell here, so when I did the initial build, I had a Team Wave 7.5 turn motor. I have since changed that to a Speed Passion 7.5 turn motor. I do have a Novak 5.5 turn, however I want to start with the 7.5 turn to begin with. Reason why I put the Speed Passion motor in is I have a Sky RC motor analyzer, and this had a slightly higher kV rating than the Team Wave motor. Another thing I've done is I've also up the gearing. I've gone from a 32 to a 37 tooth, so this is the highest gear ratio I can use in this configuration. But probably the biggest change is the front shock tower. So here is the original shock tower, and what was happening was, I don't know if you can see, there's a mark there where the initial shock with one of these little pillow ball screws goes into the second hole here, and you have these extra holes here. And what was happening was, when I would put the body on, the body was actually sitting on the top of the shock tower here, and it was lifting it up, and so it had a fairly high gap between like the surface and the body itself. So I had some 4mm carbon fiber laying about, and what I have done is I have made some custom shock, they're custom shock towers. So I was trying to make it as one tower, so I traced around the original shock tower here with some paper, and glue sticked the paper onto the carbon fiber, and I cut around it. However, I did adjust the drawing, and I had it so it was that much taken off. So as you can see, it's initially the same geometry, but I have, it's, yeah, like I said, I tried to make it one whole piece, but I ended up cutting the excess off, so it's two separate pieces bolted on. So I tested it, and the body sits a lot lower now, which is good. So what we're going to do, guys, one of the issues I'm going to have with this car is one, finding a suitable place to run this, if I want to really give it the beans, and the weather. So the weather's been a bit crap, to be honest, so it's going to be a while until I get to give this a full run. But what we're going to do is, for a test run, I'm going to take it to a local basketball court area, and it's got multiple courts, so it can be fairly long. And I'm not going to really open it right up, but we're going to give it some test runs just to see what it's like and see if anything needs to be changed. So with the magic of video editing, we'll be at the netball or the basketball courts.
Alright, we are at the usual spot where I test my drift cars. Big issue I'm going to have with this particular car is finding a place suitable to run it. At the moment I'm just going to do some small test runs just to see how it goes. I have a GPS fitted to it. What we're going to do first is just to see if it's tracking straight, and we'll go from there. Okay. Okay, no one's coming. Another little thing I forgot to mention, on the back you can see I have a voltage meter. It's just something I've added so I can measure battery voltage. But yeah, so we'll do a few little passes just to see how it's tracking. Alright, so what we'll do is we will test the GPS, so we will start it. Alright, no one's coming. I mean, that was scooting along alright. Alright. Stop. Read. Okay, so that, look, I know it's only, it says, 69 kilometers an hour. I understand that this is, for a speedrun car this is slow, but I have limited space. But, I mean, so far so good. Do it again. no steering there for a second, must have been caught up on something. Alright. Stop. Read. Alright. So that run was 70 k's an hour. Not sure what that is in miles an hour, but just 1 kilometre an hour faster. That was over 175 meters. Obviously, well, I'm guessing it's counting the distance from when I started and then when it came back. So probably half that. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take the shell off. So I just want to check the steering there, because there was a moment there I had no steering at all. Oh. Okay, let's check the steering. I do see debris. Hang on. Yeah. This is the issue I'm going to have, is finding, like I said, finding somewhere to run it where it's clean, flat, and fairly long. Well, so far so good. The battery is at, what's that, 8.27 volts. And just remember guys, this is only on 2-cell and I'm only starting, so let's see how we go with another couple of runs. Alright, let's give it another run. I've got to hit the brakes hard, otherwise it's just going to yeet right into that fence. So the gearing is pretty tall, so it's probably taken a while for the motor to get into its 69 kilometers an hour. So it's getting, that's about the best I can do in this short space. What I'm going to do guys is I'm going to swap batteries and see if that makes a difference. Alright, fresh battery pack, 8.41 volts. Let's see how this one goes. Alright, stop, read, 70 kilometers an hour again. Alright, so I have two theories and someone can chime in on the comments. So with the motor and the gearing, it's just taking a while for the motor to get into its power band, so to speak, and it's just being limited obviously in this short space. If I had a longer run I could probably get more out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause here and I'll be back. Well guys, I'll call that a successful test. I didn't really expect to get a high speed out of the car, purely for the fact that I had limited space. As I mentioned, with this car, the biggest issue I'm going to have is finding somewhere that's got a long enough straight that I can really just hold the throttle open for as long as possible. But it stayed straight, went straight. I might end up getting the locking spool options for it, but we'll see how we go. The next upgrade I want to do for it is a steel spur gear. I've seen on eBay you can get them, so that will be probably its next upgrade. But if you guys have any tips for me, like I said, I'm new to this speedrun stuff. If you have any tips, please drop a comment down below. I'm more than happy to take your advice on that. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Until then, enjoy your hobby and cheers.